So, this list is polyatomic ions. I will annotate the word for you, polyatomic. Have you heard the word polygon? Sorry, polygon. Have you heard that word before in math? Polygon. Yes, no? You can type the answer in the chat window. So, can anybody explain or say like a sentence about polygon? What is a polygon? Like, square, rectangle, triangle. Then we have pentagon. Then we have hexagon, heptagon, hectagon, octagon, nonagon, decagon. What is happening in all these gons? Why? What are these? Let's participate. I know you know the answer. So these are shapes with many sides. The word many refers to poly. Many means poly, or poly means many. Okay, so the same thing goes here, polyatomic. So it's means many atoms grouped together. Polyatomic means many atoms grouped together. So if we go back to this sheet, do you see so many atoms? Br is one atom. And how many atoms of oxygen do you see over here? Do you see 3 oxygen atoms? So they are grouped together as ion. And if you carefully look at this sheet, they have a negative charge. Most of them have a negative charge. This is a negative. This is a negative. These are not atoms. I'm calling them ions. They are polyatomic. They have many atoms. They are grouped together. They have a charge. And because of this charge, we call them ions. There is one exception over here. This is ammonium. Sounds like aluminum. You will not find this on the periodic table because it's a group of atoms. Nitrogen came from the periodic table, hydrogen came from the periodic table, and there are 4 hydrogens grouped with 1 nitrogen. Together, this whole group has a charge. So the word is poly, many atoms, charged group. It's a polyatomic ion. Okay, so sometimes they group together and they form an ion. So acetate, and you will also notice that they have a specific ending. Either they end with a ate or ite. Ite is like a bite. I took a bite of an apple. Ate is like I'm done eating my apple. So when I took a bite, the number of oxygens are less, just 2 oxygens. And here, when I ate everything, the number of oxygens have increased. It has 1 extra oxygen. Now we have 3 oxygens. So chlorite has chlorine and oxygen. Chlorate also has chlorine and oxygen. When it ends with ite, there are less oxygens. When you end with ate, there is an extra oxygen. So chlorite, chlorate. Similarly, nitrite. Ite is a small bite, so it has 2 oxygens. Nitrate ends with ate, it has extra oxygen. Nitrite the ni comes from nitrogen, and ite refers to oxygen, less number of oxygens. So nitrite, nitrate. So these are different type of endings. You will also find some ide. Ide is normally for the periodic table negative ions. But some of the polyatomic hydroxide, it has 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen, put together as hydroxide. Although we are using the word hydro, but it starts with O. Oxygen is in the beginning and hydrogen is at the end. Again, it's too much for you to memorize. So you don't have to memorize. You just have to get familiar. If you see the word or you hear the word eight or eight, you should be able to identify that it is not on the periodic table. It is coming from a separate sheet of ions called polyatomic ions. And now I'll tell you what you need to do. This is a Google slide. The second slide, all you're doing is looking up these polyatomic ions on that sheet. So Cn minus 1. So let's look it up. Cn is right here, minus 1. If I download it, I should be able to magnify this page. No, I am able to magnify it. So I do see that Cn has a minus 1 charge and the word is cyanide. All you need to do is type it here, cyanide. Look up SO4. There is one sulfur, four oxygens, and this whole group has a charge of minus 2. This whole anion is a charged ion. So SO4 minus 2. SO4 sulfate. SO4 minus 2. You will just type this name on that slide. Any questions for me on slide 2? Slide 2. Any questions? Any concerns? Would you be able to do the slide 2 by yourself? Yes, no? Raise your hands. Yes. Are you guys with me? Listening? Okay. So the next one is an example slide. You have done this before, okay? What you are going to do, what is the cation? You just, the positive ones, you drag it over here. That's your cation. The anion is a group. It's a polyatomic ion. It's a card. I just drag it over here. How do you make a compound? You drag a positive ion and you drag the negative ions and try to fit them in the rectangle so that they completely make enter into the shape, a rectangle or a square or whatever outline is there. So ionic formula, this is very important. When you write the formula, the number of cards that you used, how many NO3s did you use? This is one NO3. I'm calling it a group of atoms, polyatomic NO3. I used one card. I used another card. I used two cards. So there is a 2 right here. But there was a 3 that was already present. So what did I do with the 3? I put the whole NO3 into a parenthesis so that this 3 can be separated from this 2. If I do not put parentheses, this would look like a 32, which will be wrong. It's not 32. This 3 stays with the polyatomic ion. You are not supposed to switch, subtract, add, multiply, or do any kind of mathematical operation with this little number 3. This is like a marriage between, if BA is the husband, the wife is coming with children. It's a group of people that he's marrying and they were exchanging vows. Okay, so do not separate this oxygen and the 3 from nitrogen ever. Put them together in one group, in one parentheses, and do not touch or change anything inside the parentheses. When you write the formula, when you are marrying these two together, you write the cation symbol Ba, you group the whole polyatomic ion in a parentheses, and then you write the count. How many ions did you use? You used 2 cards, so you put a 2 on the outside. Okay. What is the name of the anion, the negative part? So you'll have to look it up. NO3, NO3. NO3 is nitrate. So that name goes over here, nitrate. Okay. The cation charge, the positive charge is +2. I can just see it, type it here. The total anion charge, the anion is a negative partner. The charge is on the top, this minus sign over here. If the sign is too tiny, you can always make this image bigger so you can see the charge. There is no number, that means it's 1. So the charge is -1, and we used 2 cards, so -1 added to another -1 together, that adds up to -2. So +2 and -2 balance each other out. So that is how you know that this compound is done and it's complete. Okay, what is the name of the compound? I got this word barium from the periodic table. You can always look it up, ptable.com. The first ion is easy to find on the periodic table. That's barium. Ba stands for barium. And the nitrate you look up, because it's a polyatomic, you will not find it on the periodic table. You look up on the reference sheet, polyatomic nitrate is right here, and you write the word barium nitrate. Okay, any questions for me? This is how you are going to complete the rest of the slides. So today in our meeting, I would like each one of you to at least try slides 4 and 5. When you are done, you message me. I will look up whether you are doing it correctly, and if you're making a mistake, I will help you fix it. Okay, so start working on the slide 4. Slide 4 is exact copy of slide 3. I want you to copy your answers from the example slide and then move on to the next one. Here, aluminum is one ion, and OH minus, this is a polyatomic ion. They will marry each other. They should fit in this box, and then you enter the same information that you're supposed to do. Slide 6, ClO3 is a polyatomic ion. Make sure you put it in parentheses, and then however many cards you use, that number of card, that number goes on the bottom as subscript. Subscripts are small tiny numbers that tell the count of how many cards are you using. Okay, if there is 1, you don't have to write 1. And for the subscript, you can use command comma to make a subscript. Any questions? Any concerns? All right, carry on, and I will open the help desk if you need my help, okay?